Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the new single dad. You got Mox right here. Here in the Philippines, we got helpers to take care of our kids. I think it's not just the culture that we have here, but the standard of living here in the Philippines allows us to have helpers to take care of our kids and help us around the house. The parents who get to work, they would leave their house and their kids with these helpers, and it's become an issue of whether you trust them or you suffer the pains of having to run around with your kids all the time. Now for single parents, it's a lot more difficult because not all single parents would live with their parents where they can leave their children with and they can trust, because grandparents would be the next best people to take care of your kids. If you're a single parent that lives alone with your kids, it becomes difficult because if you don't have help, who else is there to take care of your kids, right? Ever since our second child was born, he has had about, I think, five to six different helpers, nannies to take care of him, and it's not that the kid is difficult to take care of. It's just really hard to get help these days that are trustworthy and competent enough. If you're a single parent trying to look for a helper, I'm sure you share the same sentiment, because having someone to take care of your child entails a lot of nurturing nature, if you know what I mean. Someone who would care for a child as delicate as it were their own. And there have been helpers or nannies that we've hired that were not even competent enough to be trusted with household chores, and we were not really comfortable leaving them with our children, but we had no choice. Children can get irritating sometimes because you don't really understand their language, and they're still coping with human communication. So if the kid doesn't sleep when you want him to, or it doesn't feed when you want him to, and he cries incessantly because maybe he needs to be changed, or he's hungry, he or she is hungry, it's natural that you get irritated. But if it's not your child, most of the nannies have the option to not care. It's really up to them. It's up to their morality to do so. So my question is, how much can you trust other people to take care of your kids? Now, I've discussed a lot of times with my ex, the mother of our children, that she should be more lenient with the helpers, which she totally disagrees on, because she's the one. She claims that she's the one living with the helpers, and she sees how these people perform. And in my case, I don't really mind how they perform, as long as the kid is healthy, is safe, and is taken care of properly. Well, it's on a case-to-case basis. I don't blame her for thinking that, and she may be right, but you also have to be lenient with the helpers, because nowadays it's really hard to find trustworthy people to take care of your children, let alone your household. If you scream at them, or if you always scold your helpers, they would resort to taking revenge, or they would have the mentality of getting lazy, or taking advantage, or taking things for granted. So I told my ex that you have to lay off the scolding every now and then, and she would always tell me that the helper was lazy. She would wake up earlier than the helper. Now, I tried to analyze the situation. My youngest child would normally wake up at around 6 in the morning. My ex would be asleep then, and the helper, his nanny, would do the normal things that she should do, her routine with the child. Feed the child, change him, maybe entertain him a little bit, and she can put him down and then do some chores like clean the milk bottles, wash the kids' clothes, just so it doesn't pile up, right? And every time the kid messes up the house, she has to clean up every freaking time. Not to say that it's a small house, but she has to clean up, and all these things she has to do and still manage her time and the child's. And the way I feel about it is that it's like you're juggling. If you're totally putting your attention on the child and just that, your focus on other things will be really difficult. Like if you're trying to cook and you have to take care of the child at the same time, and the child is no longer staying inside the crib, isn't that really difficult? So she would be able to do most of her chores, her routine, once my kid takes a nap at around 10 or 11 a.m. And normally, on an average, the child would sleep for 3 to 4 hours. 4 hours being the longest possible sleeping time. So if he sleeps at around 10 in the morning, 10, 11, 12, 1, he would wake up around 1 or 2 o'clock. And during this time, my elder the elder brother, my firstborn, would come from school, and she's not really obligated to take care of him because he's already 8, turning 8 this year, but she still has to feed my child, the elder one, the older one. And sometimes it becomes more difficult because you can't really tell the child to do things on his own, not unless he's willing to, or that's the way you make him grow up. My difficulty is that I can't get my kid to be disciplined because I'm not there at home. I don't live with him. If I had the chance to tell him every day that once he comes from school to do his own stuff, change his clothes, take lunch, and maybe take a nap right after, then it will be fine. But the thing is, I'm not with him, so it's really difficult. So when my youngest child wakes up at around 2 o'clock, the nanny would have to tell my older son to take a nap this time, in which he finds it difficult to do so because his younger brother would try to play with him just before he tries to take a nap. So sometimes she's unable to. The nanny would be unable to tell my older child to take a nap. And needless to say, that the nanny does not get a resting period in between. She would normally take a break when the kid is sleeping once she's done with the chores, but she doesn't take a nap. She would use her phone, try to entertain herself. When they do switch on the TV, it's mostly for my youngest child. So they're going to be watching cartoons or really kid stuff shows, which she won't be entertained with. So you have to understand how much these type of people, the nannies, would have to deal with on a daily basis. So at around 5 o'clock, 5 or 6 in the afternoon, when the child feels tired, he would probably take a nap again, or sometimes he doesn't. We try to force him not to sleep during the afternoon so he can take a full night's rest and sleep early. So just in case he doesn't get to sleep early, ideally he would fall sleepy at around 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the evening, just right after dinner. So when the nanny finally gets to wrap things up and puts the kids to bed at around 8 or before 9, things do get easier. But the nanny would try to do something productive with her day and communicate through Facebook with friends or family, and that's not so bad because she needs that, right? Also, helpers and nannies also have to socialize somehow because they only get one day off at least in 2 to 3 weeks. I think that's fair enough that we let her use Facebook, but only ideally when she's not working with my child within her watch. So anyway, I just want to wrap this up by saying you also have to balance how you treat your helpers, because if they leave, it's going to be hard for you to find another one that you can trust and work with. But at the same time, don't be too lenient with them that they become complacent in what they need to do, because if they become complacent, what's going to suffer is the quality of how they work with your kids, or how they take care of your kids, right? So that's about it. If you guys have any insights or comments, please feel free to throw it at me. I would love to hear from you guys. This is the new single dad. Mox out. See you guys again soon.